Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here with the look at the Eric Bischoff, sports entertainment's most controversial figure. There he is, the money man himself. I honestly met Eric Bischoff WrestleMania 31 weekend at WrestleCon. He was honestly somebody that I honestly never thought I would ever get a chance to meet. He was there to do a show, but with him and I believe it was Bruce Pritchard, WWF versus WCW going over the Monday Night War. And yeah, we get a picture, able to get a little, hey, how you doing, so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. I think I had him sign his book, Controversy Creates Cash. I honestly read his book. His book came out a long time ago, probably around 2004, maybe 2005, when he was still involved with WWE. And I don't know, over the last few, WWE biography releases, honestly, to me, Eric Bischoff is more than likely one of the ones that just didn't need to be made. I mean, what are they really going to tell us on this Eric Bischoff set that we weren't beat to death with over the Monday Night War series on the WWE Network, or the Monday Night War DVD that came out in 2002, the Rise and Fall of WCW. I don't think that was really the name. It was something like that. But there's been so many WCW DVDs made over the years. What are we really going to learn about Eric Bischoff in this one? And that's one of the ones that I'm really looking forward to see. We see a picture of Bischoff there from the NWO WCW era, and then of course we have over here, I believe that's a cover of one of the Taboo Tuesdays or Cyber Sundays, with him being all tied up right there for you. But I don't even really know what to expect. That's going to be the rundown of a documentary. I never read those out loud during these kind of videos because I want to be surprised as I go along. I always make these before I make them. But what are we really going to get, for matches and segments? As good as the Paul Heyman one was, when I went to go watch the bonus features, it really just bored me to death with all the promos and not having any of the matches. You sold me. I want to see them, but I can't because they're not on the disc. So AWA Superstar stuff, Great American Bash 1991. Looks like lots of interviews and segments from WCW and the AWA. You see him, firing the referee for giving the Steiners the tag belts there. Eric Bischoff versus Larry Zbyszko. Vince McMahon. Oh, Eric challenges Vince McMahon to a fight. We've seen that 1,000 times. It's good to be king. I think that's the one where they lower down the Harley, and he's in the ring, and that's actually the night that they actually lose the ratings war for the first time, and then just never get it back. Late Night Imposter. It's a great time to forget in WCW. NWO Nightcap. Keeping a secret. Eric Bischoff is named the general manager of Raw. That's a moment that we're never going to forget. The Billy and Chuck wedding, probably one of the best Eric Bischoff moments of all time. In the Skybox with Stone Cold Steve Austin. Y2J highlight reel with Eric Bischoff and Stone Cold Steve Austin. The trial of Eric Bischoff. One of the things, I haven't read through all of these yet, but one of the things that I really wish was on here was right before they brought back the ECW One Night Stand, 2005. They had a segment where Eric Bischoff was the GM of Raw, and he had a funeral for ECW, and in the ring, for I believe the first time, was Eric Bischoff, Vince McMahon, and Paul Heyman. And that was a really cool moment, and I wish I'd be able to see that again. But Eric interviews the Steiner brothers, interviews Vader, Harley Race, Vinny Vegas. See, this stuff right here doesn't really get me. Even the Blu-ray exclusive things are stuff that I don't think I'm going to go out of my way to really see. The Slamboree Bischoff versus Vince McMahon match that is a moment that never happened should have been a regular feature and not a Blu-ray exclusive. Tells the world who the real Macho Man is. Eric meets the Great One. Dueling GMs via satellite. You will bear witness to the Elimination Chamber. That was a great promo right there. Stone Cold slams Eric Bischoff. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Eric Bischoff versus Vince McMahon from Monday Night Raw. Loser gets their head shaved. Eugene versus Eric Bischoff. And Coach brings his mentor home. Whatever. We'll see. I mean, this is going to be a fun one. It's going to be good, but I just don't really know that I'm going to learn anything that I don't know that's already been beat to death with hundreds of other DVDs over the years. But Eric Bischoff, NWO, WWE, WCW, the Monday Night War, the King of Controversy. There's the Clique themselves, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. There we have some sort of a contract signing. Maybe that's when they signed Hogan back in the day. But we'll see. Eric Bischoff's Top 10 Most Controversial Moments. That's on the network. JBL Show with guest Eric Bischoff. That's on the network. Raw, December 5th, 2005. The Trial of Eric Bischoff. I'm sure that's on the network. So we'll have to see. I don't know. We'll check it out. Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here with a review of Eric Bischoff and the sports entertainment's most controversial figure. I can honestly tell you that I just finished watching this today, and I really was unimpressed. Like I said, I did the breakdown video, basically talking about what was going to be covered on this. This has been out for a few months now. I can honestly tell you that I don't remember how long it's been since it actually was released, but I waited a while until I found a good price on it on WWE Shop. With most of the documentaries, I'm always saying they're really good. I'm always putting them over, saying make sure you add them to your collections. But, you know, with so many WCW DVDs just being, you know, ran into the ground, the Monday Night War DVD, which was relatively good from 2002, the newer Monday Night War series, where they covered the whole Monday Night War, and like, yeah, that thing went on forever. It was probably like 18 episodes and seemed like it was really repetitive with a lot of things. You've got the rise and fall of WCW. You've got the history of the WCW Championship, the World Heavyweight Title. You know, so many DVDs that cover the history of, you know, WCW and everything that happened along the way. You know, for them to put out an Eric Bischoff DVD, I really thought they were setting themselves up for failure. Bischoff, you know, he did get in the ring a few times. You can remember he had the match against Vince McMahon. He had the match against, I believe, Larry Zbyszko. He had the match against Vince McMahon. He had a match against Stone Cold Steve Austin. But there's not a lot to pack a 2-disc Blu-ray or a 3-disc DVD set of matches, of best ofs. You can put a lot of moments that are on there, a lot of promos and things like that, but if you don't get the payoff from the promo, to me, even if you can go look for it and search it out on the network, it doesn't really work out for me. To me, honestly, it was a good documentary of his life. You know, from him growing up in Detroit and then moving around the country, him getting involved in wrestling. I honestly didn't know that Sonny Ono of WCW fame, the Japanese manager, was actually like a childhood friend of his. You know, actually it was Sonny Ono's idea to come up with the Ninja Stars game, which ended up getting him into the AWA, going to Vern Gagne, basically giving him a portion of the sales of the game in order to put the commercial on his daily ESPN wrestling show. Is what got him into the company, which got him into sales, which then got him into announcing, which then got him a WWF tryout, which didn't work out. But then once the AWA finally closed down, him moving over to WCW, becoming the third-rate announcer, and then just being the right guy at the right time, who had a history in sales, a history of the wrestling business, that was able to move right into being the president of the company. And the only reason why he was there was that I believe Jim Herd wanted to put some competition out there in the announcers rate, and he didn't want Tony Schiavone or Jim Ross sort of slacking off on the job. He wanted them to be able to sort of push them to make them better, you know, put some heat on them for what it was. But the guy ended up moving up to the top. He had some really great ideas. He thought out of the box. He always He would have these meetings, and he'd always talk about the fact that he was going to put WWF out of business. He was going to overtake the company, and with the help of Ric Flair, they were able to recruit, bringing in Hulk Hogan, which then brought in Macho Man Randy Savage, which then, brought in, guy after guy, whether it was Hacksaw Jim Duggan, whether if it was the Big Boss Man. They just were raiding everybody from there, and that basically just came down to, him putting on a piece of paper WWF on one side, WCW on the other, and basically saying, I can't beat them head to head in a better looking wrestling show. They're better than us in that, but I can give the people what they want with more competitive action. Nitro really broke it broke the sort of show that wrestling fans were used to getting. Normally, when you'd watch Raw, at that time it was a 1-hour show. They would put 45-minute of jobber matches on there, and then the last match would be a match of like The Undertaker against Damien Demento, or Yokozuna versus Ric Flair. Just really non-competitive matches against one big name against a superstar. And every once in a while you get a match like Bret Hart versus Virgil, Bret Hart versus the 1-2-3 Kid. That would be a really good match. But most of the time these main events just ended up falling flat and not really getting a lot out of what you were getting. So, I mean, Bischoff, when he came onto the scene with Nitro, your first episode, you've got, Big Bubba Rogers against Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan wrestling on TV at that time was a really big deal. Even though Big Bubba wasn't the biggest name for him to go. But then you go to the second episode of Nitro, I believe you got Lex Luger against Hulk Hogan. And of course you're mixing up the whole Macho Man versus Sting angle that was going on at the time with those guys having matches on Nitro because of the fact that Macho Man didn't think Luger was on their side. Those early episodes of Nitro, honestly, were really, really good. And it's because of Eric Bischoff's thinking and, also having help of guys like, I believe Kevin Sullivan was in charge of booking there at the time. But, honestly, I'll tell you, I don't know if this is on the network or not, but it's good. It's not great. You got a lot of things on there. It follows his career. I don't like that out of the middle of nowhere telling their stories. They break into sort of showing what he's doing later in his life, whether if it's them talking about him and Jason Harvey of the Wonder Years fame, or from the first Starrcade being the outside judge of Sting versus Ric Flair. But they talk about Buffalo Bill, Wild Bill, whatever it is, Cody beer that he sells and how he does it. There's a lot of outside of wrestling things, but everything that's basically involving wrestling, you've heard it 10, 15, 20 times. Sometimes that are better than the actual documentary, the actual stories where they just let them talk and don't cut it. Those even fell flat on here. So honestly, in my mind, I wasn't a big fan of the Bischoff Blu-ray DVD documentary. Possibly wait for the network. If not, you probably already have it because you're still collecting them faster than me, or you're like Gemini buying them when they come out. But I wasn't impressed. It wasn't for me. So, part of me wants to watch the Dudleys documentary next. I don't know why I keep pushing back Scott Hall. When I did that unboxing the other day, I really thought that the Scott Hall Razor's Edge would be the first one that I watched. But, I don't know, I'm either going to watch the Dudleys or I'm going to watch the 30 for 30 OJ because I got one more part to go and I want to finish it. So we'll see you guys down the road. Peace out, everybody.